Yo, what's up, everybody? This is Big Mike over at Fous Alerts. Today is February 14th. Wanted to do a nice recap of a couple of trades and setups that occurred over the past week or two. Basically, what you guys see right now is the Dow. And as most of you should know, the Dow has been on fire. You know, the market in general has been on fire. Small caps have been doing very well. Looking at the IWM, the Dow, S&P, whatever indice you follow, the market's at all-time highs. So that means that literally on a daily basis, there are stocks for us day traders to take advantage of. Whether it's long or short, we want to see a market that has a direction because typically, you see what are called animal spirits that are referred to on TV, where when the market's at new highs, the market's breaking resistance, have investors and everyday individuals out there asking themselves, what can I do with my money to take advantage of this? So now that the market's at all-time highs, like I said, there's action almost every single day. So to kind of recap some of the hotter trades that occurred over the past week, want to discuss a couple names in particular. First one being PLX. This is basically a stock, guys, that really had a nice breakout over $1 despite having almost a 400% run already. This bottomed out in December at about 30 cents. Since then has ripped to about $1.50, which is basically about a 500+% move. So you could have played this long and short. We tried multiple times to play this short over the past week, just to give you guys the criteria. Typically we look for stocks that are up at least 100%. This being up 400 or 500, typically makes it that much better of a short. RSI is also over 70, meaning it's super overbought. So you basically wait for the stock to find some type of top, and whether you were playing it long or short, you could have played the breakout over one. Where basically on last week, this was the breakout we saw over one. Just to zoom out. This thing really consolidated nicely and then, really topped out, as you can see, near that halfway dollar mark at $1.50. So this formed a really nice descending triangle going into today. Was hoping to see this thing hold over 130, and hopefully we did not get the gap down, but unfortunately we did. So, this actually ended up chasing this move to the downside. This, of course, had a nice breakout, giving that it went SSR, meaning it's really hard to short, and then everybody tried to chase it, where we squeezed, had a nice gap fill, and then ended up cracking back down. So this is not really an ideal trade, but kind of wanted to show you guys how this descending triangle really did work out. But unfortunately didn't get to take advantage of it. So definitely one of the hotter trades over the past week or two, guys. Like I said, it's not every day you see a stock that's made a massive run like PLX. So we'll be watching it tomorrow. Hopefully the volume and the volatility still stay there, so we can definitely hit it for a trade. So other tickers that I wanted to discuss, THLD was a really hot trade that you could have played long. And also this looks pretty hot going into tomorrow. See if we get some type of gap or not. But, Fous has had this on the watch list for a pretty long time. Finally got the breakout today over about 60. You can see the nice volume, 4.1 million shares, not too bad. And then looking at the 5-minute chart, obviously pretty choppy, but you can see where this breakout happened. Basically just kept having nice F pattern breakouts and then holding. You can see we broke out here and then held that resistance / VWAP, continued up, broke out here. So we'll see if this sees a continuation or if we see a fail back down tomorrow on THLD. Another stock I wanted to discuss was BLPH. Another one that we had on the watch lists for a little while. Finally got the breakout. This is a really nice revival pattern, where you basically have a nice ascending triangle, basically, and to give yourself a price target, typically you can take the width of the triangle and add it to the breakout. Width of this being about 40 cents, the breakout over 80, your target's about 120. We got to about 115, and then we got the fail back below 1. So definitely we'll be watching this tomorrow to see if we get some type of movement. Obviously, now that we are back below 1, it's not ideal on the long side, so it'll be interesting to see if we gap up tomorrow, maybe for a gap in short over 1. But definitely a really nice breakout. Looking at the 2-minute chart today, guys, this is really picture perfect the way this broke out. Had a nice F2 at about 11 o'clock, followed by another F pattern breakout up here over 1. And then ideally, looking at the daily, guys, after being up, almost 50% plus, that's when you usually want to start to look to take some profits. So pretty hot trade on BLPH. This to me kind of looks like a Head and Shoulders. kind of panning out once we broke down below 1. So like I said, if we do gap back above 1 tomorrow, we'd definitely love to short this back down. Another one I wanted to discuss, ZAIS. This is basically some type of financial services stock that really ripped today. Did not get to trade this, but you can see this has been a former mover. Looking at the daily chart, this constantly makes major rips. So this is a really nice cup and handle that formed as we started to really consolidate along the 13 EMA. Then we had broke out today on major volume. So you could have shorted this up here near 4.5. Looking at the daily chart, 4.5, 5 has been major resistance. So that would have been your ideal short zone if you had shares. But then obviously this came back down. Pretty crazy range all day. But looking at this is really easier, in my opinion, to trade, up until noon. And then at that point, this whole chart looks just choppy to me. So look at the 5-minute, though, guys. This also looks like possible head and shoulders to me. So ideally, if we get a gap up near 450, 480, would love to take this thing down short tomorrow. But, this was up 110, 120% today. So pretty crazy mover that unfortunately did not get to trade as well. Last one I want to talk about was Sino. All these shipping stocks, guys, typically make crazy moves. I personally avoid them just because they're really hard to trade sometimes. I'd rather short them than long them. So, but this Sino had a really nice F2 breakout on Monday, where you definitely could have played this over 370. Had a major rip to 5, where we found major resistance. So going into today, guys, you can expect that 5 zone to act as your support or resistance to kind of see where the stock's going to move. So today we gapped up, and I'm sure everybody and their grandma was looking for this to continue up, looking at this daily chart. But this was just another example of traders taking advantage of this gap up over 550 and just slamming this thing down. Literally a 50 to 60 cent drop, guys, in 2 minutes. So if you were able to get shares on Sino, this is a pretty hot short. Once again, retesting that VWAP and then coming back down, and then obviously just crashing the rest of the day. So going green to red, pretty hot trade there. There's literally hundreds of stocks like I discussed, guys, that have made moves, which is really good because this is the type of environment we want for day traders. So definitely check out the watch list tonight. Looking forward to putting on some pretty hot trades. Otherwise, looking forward to also see you guys on Fous TV tomorrow. Hope everybody has a great night.